You know, I'll never forget the first time I saw Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. This movie blew me away. I mean, I could not get enough of it. Came out on DVD, came out on Blu-ray. I showed it to everybody. Guy Ritchie was my hero. His style, his pacing, his storytelling, he's English. I mean, just what a breath of fresh air. And Sherlock Holmes, Snatch. He married Madonna, for crying out loud. So when I heard he was doing Man from U.N.C.L.E, I thought, man, we are in good hands. Boy, he dropped the ball. He dropped the ball big time. I have so many problems with Man from U.N.C.L.E, and let's start with the most obvious one. The movie, of course, is based on the hit show with Robert Vaughn from 1964, and you know, it's back to the Cold War era. And I grew up during the Cold War era. I grew up every James Bond film, it was the Russians are going to get us, and also everywhere you looked, Ronald Reagan, tear down this wall, everything was about communism and the Cold War. So now here we are in the 21st century, and for more, you know, for argument reasons, our new threat are terrorists, you know, from the Middle East or from even here homegrown. I mean, look what happened in Oklahoma City. So now terrorism is our new threat instead of the Cold War. So this is a big throwback for the Man from U.N.C.L.E. And here's one of the big mistakes that I think that Guy Ritchie did with the Man from U.N.C.L.E. First of all, it's set in 1964. So it looks great. It's spot on. Everything down from the suits to the cars. We feel like we're in 1964. The problem is he shot the movie like it was made in 1964. It needed to have a contemporary reference. We can't have the movie seem like we discovered this movie that was, you know, on at 2 in the morning on some independent channel. We needed a movie that reflected contemporary values and times, but told the story that was in 1964. It didn't do that. I mean, it was laughable to see these secret agents. So first of all, we have Henry Cavill playing Napoleon Solo, who's an American agent for U.N.C.L.E, and he teams up with his Russian counterpart. So, oh, fish out of water. And they have all the gadgets, they have all these things, and they're, you know, a transistor time. You know, you look at these gadgets and people were snickering because, like, okay, it's like, you know, back when Goldfinger premiered and Q was showing all these great spy devices for James Bond, they were innovative. But you watch it today, you kind of like, you know, okay, right, we're more used to Mission Impossible. We're used to something that has a little bit more 21st century punch to it. So that was one of the big drawbacks, is the movie didn't use a contemporary setting in terms of the story, that we needed to understand that people living in 2015 were watching this, not 1964. Getting excited here because I'm angry. I'm really angry. And then second of all, Henry Cavill. He was replaced by, you know, Tom Cruise, who had to do Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, and he's British. I don't know if you've seen interviews with him. He's not an American, but he's playing an American. But he acts English the whole movie. Not only acts English, I mean, it just oozes through the way he holds himself, the sophistication. And then Armie Hammer comes in as the brute Russian who can't understand anything unless he puts his fist through it. So their dynamic, their chemistry is totally lacking. The plot is there's a nuclear weapon that's gone awry. Oh, welcome to Spectre. That they have to find before something happens, you know, to create this disbalance of power in the world. But you wouldn't know that was the plot because nothing happens in this movie. I mean that literally. We spend so much time in these hotel rooms walking in and out, and every time Napoleon Solo shows up, he's like, what's going on here? Oh, what are you doing? I mean, he's just got this whole not rush demeanor that just doesn't fit with an action film. I didn't understand where this movie was going. I'm like, where's our villain? Where's our super villain? You know, any moment, and I'm really serious, folks, I thought Austin Powers was going to break into the room any minute and start dancing. It was that corny because you thought, you know, they were doing a parody of the Man from U.N.C.L.E. Instead of giving it this really cool hip feel to it, it just seemed dated, it seemed corny, and it just seemed like it was hiding behind itself with no action whatsoever. Now, of course, I blame Guy Ritchie for the story of it, but it looked fantastic. It looked slick. The action sequence at the end, really, you know, with this motorcycle chase and this car chase through the forest, just seemed so out of place. It looked like they just tacked on this thing for gratuitous reasons. So the whole movie was just the whole movie was just a real debacle. I mean, I could not get behind it. First of all, was it me, or was there homoerotic tensions and tones between Armie and Henry Cavill, between those two characters? I talked to some other critics and people after the movie. I'm like, did you just feel like there was this any moment they were going to embrace? And they're like, yeah, we got that too. So what's up with that? And the question I kept asking everybody in the audience, you know, other critics, what does U.N.C.L.E. stand for? They didn't even say that. You know, the only reference that we have, what the Man from U.N.C.L.E, their new code word, is from Hugh Grant, who just waltzes in this movie and just does a laissez-faire type attitude. It's laughable. It really is. I mean, it's like they never saw a spy film before. I mean, it's Guy Ritchie. I mean, I love Sherlock Holmes. There's a new one coming. He just announced the third one. I can't wait. Those are brilliant. But I just think this movie really suffered. But anyway, Uncle. What does Uncle stand for? Besides being pinned down and, it's a term of surrender. So what is Uncle? I looked it up. You ready for this? Because we were trying to figure out what it meant in the screening. We're like, wait, maybe it means this. We're like, no, what in the world does it mean? It means United Network Command for Law and Enforcement. United Network Command for Law and Enforcement. Uncle. I don't think there's going to be any more uncles. I'm saying Uncle. I surrender. Because Man from U.N.C.L.E. was a great disappointment. It was just not to be. Why didn't you make it for 2015? Why'd you have to make it like it was in 1964? It was really corny doing that. All right, for more reviews and interviews, surf on over to my website. Surf on over to my website at vegasfilmcritic.com. Check out my podcast. Also, if you like my review of Man from U.N.C.L.E., hope I saved you some money and not to go see it. Wait till it comes on cable. Make sure you share, comment below. Love to know that. And also, subscribe. I'm Jeff Ricky Howard. This is what I'm going to go watch instead. I love you, Guy, but you dropped the ball.